The Arizona Diamondbacks last season put up a record of 74-88, meaning they missed the playoffs, obviously. However, things seem to be looking up in Arizona heading into 2023. A lot of young talent, a little bit. They got a veteran core there too, with some guys there, and it should be a very, very fun team to watch. They've made some moves this offseason, so a couple of big ones too. We're going to discuss it all right here on the Arizona Diamondbacks team profile. My name is Derek. I'm here with Pat, and let's get straight into it. So as I said, 74-88 was the D-backs record last year. Obviously, they had some ups, they had some downs. They definitely had some ups later in the year when they went on, I think, a 7-game winning streak, and they won like 8 out of 10. And there were some ups for sure. There are definitely some downs. Head over to Pat first here. We look at this D-backs team, who are 3 key players for them? And out of those 3 guys that you're picking, which one do you think will have the biggest impact on the team in 2023?
I'm going to turn it back on you, Derek. I'm giving you 3 names. I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you a yes or no answer. Okay. Christian Walker last year, it's only a second full season, right? Lots of 74 game seasons, right? Second full season last year, but Gold Glove, 36 home runs. That's a hell of a season. Is Christian Walker legit?
Yes, he's by far the best defensive first baseman in the league. When you look at defensive metrics, it's not even close, and the power is legit.
Player number 2, Zach Gallen, comes in 5th in Cy Young voting last year. Is Zach Gallen a future, this year and future, Cy Young candidate?
I have him predicted to be the Cy Young winner in 2023.
There you go. Last one, Corbin Carroll. Okay. Keith Law, The Athletic, ranks him number 1 prospect overall. Will he break camp? Will he be on the opening day roster?
No question. He will.
I mean, that's a bright future, right? I mean, all 3 of those guys we're saying have even more upside than what we've seen so far. More consistency, maybe, right? I mean, that's what this team needs.
Yeah, it really is. I look at this team, and D-backs, they've been my second team now for a couple of years. I think since 2019, they've been my second team. And I've kind of fallen in love with them. You have big guys like Zach Allen's obviously going to be key for them. I love Josh Rojas a lot. I think he's very underrated. I love what he does. But the big guy here is Ketel Marte. He's my favorite non-Red Sox player, so I'm going to take this opportunity to talk about him. 4th in MVP voting in 2019, hasn't fully replicated it, had some injury problems and whatever. Here's the thing about Ketel Marte. He's pretty much a veteran of this team now, and you look at him, and if he can stay healthy, will be a steady presence in a lineup with a very young team that should be a very exciting team. He's penciled in at second base. I think this infield is going to be very interesting because you have Walker at first. You have Josh Rojas at third. I like the corners a lot. You got Ketel Marte at second. If he stays healthy, that's great. Shortstop, there are some question marks there. Do not get me wrong, but it could be very interesting. And behind the plate, you have a mix of Carson Kelly and Gabriel Moreno. I think that's solid, especially with Moreno's potential. I really like this D-backs team. Obviously, maybe it's because I've watched a lot of them too, so that's why I really like them. But I'm high on them. I have bright things for their future, and even their immediate future. I think they'll be a lot better than people expect. And we kind of talk about the D-backs and them having a bright future, and they made a lot of moves this offseason. And you talk about their offseason moves, right? You look at they traded Dalton Varsho, one of the guys with the brightest futures on the team, but they brought back Gabriel Moreno. Another really bright future, and he's going to stick at catcher, it seems, although Varsho probably could have played catcher, but his athleticism was used in the outfield. They also brought in Lourdes Gurriel Jr. They traded for Kyle Lewis, I don't know if he won the rookie year in 2020. He was definitely in the conversation. I don't remember off the top of my head. And then they signed Evan Longoria, and then Miguel Castro, I think, is very underrated signing in the bullpen. We're looking at those moves. Which one do you think is going to have the biggest impact? I think there's a clear answer, but what do you think?
Now I feel like I'm going to give the wrong answer. Okay, hold on. I don't want to get it wrong. Give me the names one more time. I want to see if I can guess what you're going to say.
This is the Dalton Varsho trade where they traded Varsho for Moreno and Gurriel.
Oh, no, I know who it's going to be.
Then
Evan Longoria.
That's not who I'm picking.
No, okay, well, that's my pick. Evan Longoria, because a real veteran. I mean, this is a guy who's been around the block, right? Is he going to make an impact at the plate? No. Is he going to play every day? No, right? But I don't see, I mean, if Marte is the veteran of the team, I like Marte just fine. But Longoria, he knows what's up. And the young guys need a leader. And, 1 year deal. He's going to he's going to, I think, help out the team in the sort of immeasurable kind of ways. Now give me your answer.
I think Longoria, I'll go on Longoria for half a second. I think he will be a DH for this team. I don't think he plays third every day.
You think he's an everyday DH?
Probably. And I think it might keep him healthy. And the bat has been above league average the last 2 years, especially when you combine them, especially in 21 too. And that was in a not hitter friendly ballpark in San Fran. But you look at this team. I think the biggest move is the Dalton Varsho for Gabriel Moreno and Lourdes Gurriel Jr.
Come on, like that's the. I'm sorry,
I
didn't realize we could pick the obvious answer.
Yes, you can pick the obvious answer. But I think this is it's not just who they're bringing back; it's who they did trade away. Because Dalton Varsho, elite defense in the outfield, and this outfield that if they kept Varsho, obviously it was it was going to be very crowded, very left-handed heavy. But you look at the defense and the speed in that outfield was going to be like, holy crap! Like this outfield is going to be like ridiculous, and that's a big outfield, a lot of ground to cover. That center field wall, it's 407 feet, and it's high, and the gaps are there's pretty sizable gaps there too. You gotta, and I think losing the defense is going to be big, but they brought in a catcher, Gabriel Moreno, who I'm very high on. Lourdes Gurriel, I think, could picture into a left field and DH role. He'll probably DH for Longoria isn't DHing, which means Longoria he will still get some games at third base because Josh Ross can still play a little bit of second base, and so there'll be a little bit of moving around every now and then for the team and their lineup. But Corbin Carroll is going to play the outfield every day. Jake McCarthy is going to play the outfield every day. So Varsho, he wouldn't have been the third outfielder on this team, but he's definitely, you look at it and go, they already had a lot of left-handed hitting outfielders, so it's not too surprising that they moved on from him, especially considering they got, in my opinion, or at least, arguably when he got called up was the best catching prospect in baseball, if not definitely one of the better ones. And you're getting Gabriel Moreno back in a trade, who I think has got a really bright future ahead of him.
I agree. I think that this is going to be, and we can, kind of talk about team expectations a little bit. I think this is a team that's got to settle in and that's got to do some winning now, right? They've got some skills, they've got some talent, and it's going to be like, okay, get the veteran leadership, right? Get our roles, play every day, and win some baseball games. Like the rebuild, I don't want to say the rebuild is done, but like the building is done, right? Yes. It's start to put it all together.
Yeah, 100%. There are some question marks on this team. The bullpen, especially look at like Mark Melancon as a closer last year, but that's a little rough. Yeah. That's why I think Miguel Castro is so important. I think Miguel Castro is such an under the radar move that people aren't talking about enough, because I think that bullpen had some struggles last year. Mantiply was good though. Not get me wrong, he was good. He was an all-star last year, but he was more that kind of lefty kind of fireman guy. He wasn't closing for them. And you look at, their rotation, the back end of the rotation last year, that 5 spot in the rotation, there's a mix of guys going through there. It was rough. Madison Bumgarner last year, it was rough. But you look at that, Zach Gallen, Merrill Kelly was a solid 1-2 punch, especially Gallen. The second half of the year, Gallen was lights out. Arguably the best pitcher in the big leagues the second half of 2022. And then also too, Zach Davies wasn't bad for them the second half. So it's like, okay, it's like, the top 3 in the rotation were fine. Bumgarner in the 4th spot was a little rough. The 5 spot was definitely rough too. So you do have to see improvements. They do have some young arms coming and potentially into the rotation. See how that plays out. I like this team. Obviously, things are going to have to click for them. But I think it'll be a fun team. I think they got this young talent. A guy like Ketel Marte, he has a bounce back year. I would love to see that. And I think he still has the talent to do so for sure. It's just about staying healthy. And overall, the expectations are for this team are to see their growth from that young core, and have that young core mixed with the veterans, and maybe even to push for a wild card spot. I think that could be the expectations.
Yeah, I think. Listen, tough division, right? National League at large, obviously even tougher. A lot of really good teams in the National League, like really good. Like they don't have question marks the way that Arizona does, but I think that Arizona could potentially be the Baltimore of this year, where they go on a little bit of a run, right? And they go like, hey, if we do this for another week, we have a week where we go 5-1, like we could be in the wild card conversation, right? Probably the same outcome as Baltimore, where they don't quite get there, but they're making a run, and they are making big leaps this year. I mean, the year before, 52 and 110. I mean, did I get that right? I think it was
62 and 100.
Was it? Okay. Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong team. Well, you get the idea, right? That's a big leap. And I think that they're going to do something similar again this year.
Yeah, I've been saying it for months now. I think they're going to be the Orioles of 2023. And I think that's a great note to leave it off on. Very bright team, very, very bright future, high hopes to see some improvement. And I think baseball fans should be excited about them. So Diamondbacks fans, let us know your thoughts on your team in the comments. Let us know. Also, check out all our links in the description. The first link will be to all our team profiles that we've done. Also, check out the Bleacher website, podcast, Instagram, and Twitter, plus all the crew's Twitters. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you're notified whenever we post. And that's it for your Arizona D-backs team profile right here on Bleacher Brawls. My name's Derek. I'm here with Pat. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.